What I'm saying is the bike was the place that I went that all that disappeared. All the noise stopped and I just got lost in it. And I'm glad I kept going, because in that next year, like being able to dive into riding that way, like really helped me. I never wanted to stop. I can see why my family might have wanted to. There's two things that pop up on my Instagram feed all the time. And one of them is the goon riding video from early on, and the other one is the battle with Stu. I can honestly say that was one of the funnest races I ever raced. We battled hard. The second moto we battled, but the first moto, it was like...
It was on.
It was on.
The way that Jett has been like dominating the 450 class, like did you have any indication that this was coming? Like, did you have any kind of feeling that we might see this, or is this a surprise to you as some of, I guess, like most people?
I knew he was going to be good. Just the way that he rides the bike, he rode his 250 was, it's kind of like the ideal way to ride a 450. And I think he's probably taken notes from a lot of different guys, and those guys are great. The Lawrences are great at kind of going like, oh, I like that, I'm going to try to implement that. Or I don't like this, so I'm not going to do that. And so I think they've probably implemented a lot of things. But whenever I watched him last year, the way that he is with the power, his technique, I really felt like it was probably going to go good. But I didn't know until Motocross of Nations, probably that first moto, or was it the second moto, whatever one he rode good. I was kind of like, okay, yeah, it's translating. It's really going to happen for him. So I just think there's a lot of great combos there that he's pretty advanced in his approach on the bike. The way that he is methodical about things is a little bit ahead of his time as far as his age in this class. So I guess to answer your question, I was unsure, but once I saw Motocross of Nations, I was like, okay, yeah, he'll be just fine.
Yeah, and you think like, so let's say he goes till he's 29.
Yeah,
like
he'll have challenges. I think Tomac being gone is doesn't help. I think he's probably making it look easier than it is. He's still pushing, even though he makes it look so good. So and then Chase too. Chase, I don't think was at his best at Paula, and still was fighting. So I think there's a handful of guys that will challenge him. But man, if he continues in this progression of the way that he works with Dazzy and Hunter, and the way that the thing that I admire the most about them is their process. Like, a lot of guys will get frustrated. Say you miss one or two tries testing, they'll get really frustrated and go like, oh, let's just go back to what worked. I don't want to, I don't want to keep going. We aren't finding anything. Where what Dazzy's done with these guys is he goes, no, this is what works about this. And yeah, there's those kinks there, but we'll work them out. But it's a process, and if we follow the process, the bike, the thing that we're trying to fix is going to get there. And I see that their approach, kind of like the whole, everything as a whole, they're working towards, 2 to 5 years out. It's not just about this weekend. And I think I probably missed that in my racing. A lot of guys do, because you're so in the moment and you want to get it right now. And they certainly have urgency, but I think where they're getting it right is, and I think Johnny O's probably helped them have that mindset. But they're working on getting the momentum going, and I think they'll continue to keep the momentum going because they're not getting too carried away with the highs and the lows of it all.
Yeah, and I think I said this a while ago, that I think it was a while ago now, but I said I think that everyone's probably like a few years behind. Like, I think like when you try and change something technique wise as a rider, like at any level, I mean, there's like an adjustment period, there's an uncomfortability. It's kind of like exactly what you said about riding, the testing. It's like, oh, I got to get on the balls of my feet. Well, now I can't really use my rear brake that well. So like, fuck it. I'm just going to go back to how I used to do it, and I'll like make it up somewhere else. I think that like they took the hit like pretty early on, you know, to like they just stayed so committed to this idea of like, no, technically we need to be perfect. And I believe you'll probably see Chance Hymas have like a pretty steep curve, because like he's committed in the same way. And I think like that second moto at High Point was pretty cool, where it's like he's out front, Hunter's coming, like you're gonna get past, but he just didn't break form. He didn't change the way he rode. He didn't get loose. And it's like, to have that commitment to it's like a game plan, you know, like you've staying committed to a certain game plan. And I think that's probably like they've kind of caught the field with their pants down, in a sense, is that like if you're gonna want to make these changes, like you're gonna really like you're behind the 8 ball now. And you know, like I even think like with Hayden, I mean, I've been pretty stoked on the whole Hayden Deegan thing for a really long time, and even in my head now I'm like, dude, you're doing good, but like you need to get on that kind of like Lawrence swag a little bit, of like really just being addicted to the process and like really believing in, you know, like making gains in certain areas for the long term, because you know it's that, I think that's like the new wave now.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go to High Point, but I text Chance right after. I just said, hey, there's more to come, you know.
Yeah.
Because I think what's coming for him is, you know, he's adapting a lot of what he's around every day, and I think if he can stay focused without getting discouraged or derailing, like he's going to be there. And I think where I missed it a lot was, you know, I rode with my heart a lot and not with my head, you know, which worked great for me sometimes. You know, I would come out swinging and you know, make crazy moves, you know, and it was great, you know, and it's exciting, but I wasn't able to see 3-4 years down the road. I was just able to see next weekend. And so I wish I could have had some of that, you know, in me, because I think one of the reasons like Dungey was so successful was he didn't have these crazy peaks and lows in his career, and he was able to build over 3, 4, 5 years into the champion he became, where, you know, I was like this, you know, there was these crazy highs and crazy lows, and that gets draining emotionally and mentally. So if you can keep your eyes on, you know, 3 years from now and think, hey, I'm going to have some losses, I'm going to have some wins, but if I can see those losses as lessons and, you know, not take them so personally and use them as a teaching moment, man, I think you're so much better off. And I think that's part of what they've done really well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And like, yeah, just to stay, like for us this year, we've had so many like different things we're working towards, and it's like I'm doing the Dubai thing, and I've been like waiting on this US visa. Like I actually just got it approved yesterday, which is crazy. But it's like there was all these things that I'm like, that almost was like the linchpin of like this entire plan. And it's like there's been so many times this year where I've just been like fully over it, down, like all right, I'm done. I'm like all these bold plans, it's like too much. I'm over it. But you know, it's like if you can just stay to that long, you know, not in racing but just life, it's like have a game plan, like see where you want, like you are going to be somewhere in 3 years, like you might as well be where you kind of want to be. Like what are the things you can do every day to get there?
Yeah, and then be flexible enough to make adjustments, you know. And I think that's such a great life lesson, you know, like when it's 4:00 and those guys are smoked and they don't want to really do anymore, and Dazzy's going, no, just go do a couple more laps and just give us some feedback, you know.
Yeah,
like you almost need that philosophy in life. Like oh, I'm just worked right now, and I'm so over this. Like, this is the worst, you know? If you could just go like, man, I just need 2 more laps to get some little more info so that I can do the next thing. Man, I think it's really valuable.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125 Gypsy Gang.